How is it rocking, Dwayne Nation? Stay here because we are just about to get underway. In the meantime, please like, comment, and subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. We put out weekly sports content, and we want to continue to build up Dwayne Nation and the brand that is Dwayne Sports. Thank you all, and enjoy. Welcome in, Dwayne Nation. This is your host, Justin Pies, alongside Genoa Agudelo, and we are here to discuss the spiciest spicy takes, our bold predictions for Week 6. Takes that we believe in, right? We believe this player is going to do great, or vice versa, a player that we think is going to do very poorly. But something that's going to happen that is not expected. And, the NFL is unexpected. It's unpredictable. But we are planning to do so in a big way. And this episode is just so fun to do. And as you can, if you watch it, be confident in that take happening. Honestly, I feel really confident about what I'm saying on my bold predictions this week, and I'm excited to get to it. So before we do that, though, how are you feeling, Genoa?
Yo, Dwayne Nation, Justin, I'm doing great. Yeah, we got some spicy takes here, Justin, that we got to share it there to Dwayne Nation. We've said this a lot. This has been one of the most unpredictable seasons you and I have probably ever seen. And you know what, Justin, we got to beat them to it. We got to show Dwayne Nation the unpredictableness. I don't know if that's a word. We got to tell them what we're thinking, because things could get very crazy this week. And I have a feeling that by the time we digest things Sunday night and even Monday morning, we're going to be like, what was that? What did we just watch?
All right.
So Justin and I, Dwayne Nation, we came together. We have some takes to show you guys. Some spicy, and then some get really spicy. Okay, so with the news that's been going on the last 24 hours, we got some things to add on. We got some thoughts pretty much to tell you guys, Dwayne Nation, and they're spicy. We want to beat the NFL to it.
No, I agree. I mean, and yeah, as Genoa kind of laid it out, it's going to be from spicy to spicier to spiciest takes. So it's going to get even wilder, and we're ready to bring it. So I'll start us off at the normal spice level, a little mild. Maybe that buffalo sauce that's
Buffalo
coming
sauce.
in. Yeah, buffalo, right? After a while, it can get a little spicy. But I have Breece Hall. After two really dud games performances against tough defenses, he goes against the 32nd ranked defense in the Buffalo Bills, and he will end this week as a top 3 running back. Now, if you look at it, hey, Breece Hall has struggled. Braylon Allen has been taking his carries. People are mad. People are sad.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've been trying to trade for Breece Hall this week, but the fact that there's new coaching staff, Nathaniel Hackett is no longer calling plays. The new play caller is Todd Downing, who is the former offensive coordinator for the Titans when Derrick Henry was there. And so obviously there's the correlation to a run-first kind of offense. And Breece Hall is a top 5 running back in this league, and he hasn't been utilized as such. This is the week they get back on track on Monday night at home in dreaded MetLife, and he's a top 3 running back.
Wow, Justin, you know what? I like it. He has been struggling the last couple weeks. Some people were already ready to press the panic button there. But you know what, Justin, with the new coaching staff there, well, not a new coaching staff necessarily, but with the new head coach / play caller, There's always a feeling, in a sense, for optimism, Justin. Sometimes when coordinators get fired and change, certain players kind of take off there. And that's what we love here in fantasy. We love that because, last year we were calling for, oh my goodness, can the Steelers please fire Matt Canada? And kind of when they did, they took off a little bit. But I think this is going to work better for Breece Hall. Robert Saleh was a good coach, but I think he was just really specialized in defense, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think he was an offensive guy. Remember, he led that dominant defense in San Francisco. He had nothing to do with what Kyle Shanahan was calling. And here in New York, Nathaniel Hackett, what he was doing in Denver, it was so terrible. And, it was such an ugly ending there. So those two just don't mix. It's water and oil. And so maybe it's this new kind of two new head coaches, play callers that we don't even know, Justin. We don't even know who these guys are. I mean, reading their name, I don't even know who these guys are. And so there is a sense of optimism that Breece Hall does finish well. For me and my mild, spicy take, mild, boneless with a little ranch, I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts. He comes back on track. You know how much I love my boy Jalen Hurts. He took a beating, an ugly loss 2 weeks ago before the bye at the hands of Tampa Bay there in Baker Mayfield. It was embarrassing. My guy got whooped by a guy that I'm not really a fan of, so that is very embarrassing. But you know what? I'm always going to ride and root along and believe behind Jalen Hurts. He is a leader. He's going to lead the Eagles one day to a Super Bowl. I don't know when it'll be. He will win a Super Bowl. But for now, he just needs to get these wins, and he's going to get back on track. He's home with Cleveland. That defense isn't as what they were, last 2 years, led by Myles Garrett. They're struggling offensively. That's going to get the Eagles to get some turnovers. It's going to put Jalen Hurts in some good, fielding ranges there. He's got Saquon there that he can fake the play action. And guess what? A.J. Brown is coming back potentially. And Devontae Adams, it looks like they were full participants this week in practice. And A.J. Brown, we forget, he's been out for a couple weeks now. He hasn't really been – he had a good week one, but he is one of the top receivers in fantasy, no doubt about it, Justin. I think last year he had about, 9 or 10 games straight with 100 yards, I believe. I think you had him in one of your leagues last year. He was a stud, and then he kind of – the Eagles, the offense fell off. I think with the bye week, they're refreshed. They're ready to go. They see that the Commanders are leading that division, and Jalen Hurts gets his – I would say he gets 4 total touchdowns. That's my spicy take, Justin. He's going to get a tush push, I believe. He's going to get a deep one to probably Devontae, definitely for AJ. And Jahan Dotson plays. I think he is a sneaky play this week. And Goddard, he was before the bye week. He was kind of ending on a hot note, so I think he gets a score in the end zone. And Jalen Hurts does finish with 4 total touchdowns, and Philly dominates Cleveland this week.
I think you're on the nose with. I think Philly's going to be Philly and Cleveland will be one of the games where we're going to see an ending score of 20-plus points in difference between the away and the home team. With Hurts, right, we saw the first game. They put up 34 points. They looked really solid on offense besides like the early turnovers that they had in Brazil against the Packers. But now they're back. AJ's going to be back. Devonta Smith's going to be back. Goddard's there. Saquon's there. The whole unit on offense is returning. Lane Johnson. And so I expect big things from Philly. And the way Cleveland has been struggling on defense, I think it's perfectly mild to predict 4 touchdowns from one of the top quarterbacks in the league. But people don't realize this. Like he's only he's 21st quarterback in fantasy this year, and he's been struggling. But this is the week he gets back on track. I like it. Moving to my pick, I'm going to London. I'm going to our early morning game, or at least for us, Jaguars in Chicago. I have the running backs for the Jaguars combining for 250-plus rushing yards together. They're going to have a huge game against the Bears. This is how I look at it. Now, the Bears' defense has been very solid this season, but they are a run funnel. Teams have been able to run the ball against the Chicago Bears. And the Jaguars, I think, know that. I don't think they have the best coaching staff, but they know that. And the way that Tank Bigsby looked last week and the way we've seen Travis Etienne look, last year in the past, they're both explosive runners. And in a game where I don't think they're going to have much success in the air, but they're still going to be in this game, they're going to rely on the running backs, and the running backs are going to go bananas in a game where the London Jaguars they always win in London, and I'm going to continue to believe so. And they do it by these running backs.
Yeah, Justin, those Jaguars are so beloved there. I think their owner, Khan there, I believe he is from there, I believe. And he was one of the first owners, I believe, that wanted to bring the Jaguars overseas to London. So they became a fan favorite. The Jaguars, they have a tradition where they play every year in London, like you mentioned. That's their thing, kind of like how the Lions and Cowboys play every year on Thanksgiving. That's kind of their thing. And sometimes, there's been a couple times in the last year where the Jaguars play a couple times overseas as well. So they kind of give up their home games to go out there and show, other countries some love. That's very interesting. You mentioned the running backs there. I love what the Jaguars are kind of turning to be there as an offense. They struggled the first couple weeks. But even with Travis Etienne kind of getting nicked up in last week's game, didn't really play much in the fourth. Tank Bigsby is what he is. He's a tank. He's built like a tank. He's a running back. He's very fast. And they drafted him last year, and he didn't do much last year. He had a couple here and there, touches, but now he's eyeing Travis Etienne's spot. I wouldn't say he's going to take it, but Etienne he's kind of hurt himself, but I do think he's going to play this week. They themselves, I think, sometimes in London, Justin, there's these random kind of games where someone goes off, especially when it's the Jaguars. And so I like them to kind of put together a great showing there in Jacksonville. I like Tank Bigsby to kind of take one out from 40. And Travis Etienne, I think he has one too. And I think if I were to say who has the more rushing yards out of the each, I would say Tanks Bigsby does have a better game, and I feel like he's hot right now. They're going to feed the hot hand, and the Jaguars, they won last week. They're gonna want to win again. Every game now from them is kind of like the season's on the line, and so they're going to do everything you can. You mentioned the Bears struggle. Last week Chuba Hubbard was able to go off against them. Even a couple weeks ago, Kyron Williams before that, I think he had 2 or 3 rushing touchdowns on them. So definitely the Bears defense is definitely one you can run on. So I like that take a lot. For me on my spicier take there, we're getting to what's the flavor here? We're doing a
like mango
Cajun,
habanero or something.
mango habanero, a little bit of pepper flakes on it. They got some spicy mild ranch on the side. Wow, it's got a tang, but not crazy yet. We're sweating a little though, Justin. My take for this one, Will Levis has 350 yards passing plus, 350 plus. So I'm thinking 400, but I don't want to get too spicy, but this is spicy. But I'm not saying 400, but I'm not saying he goes under 350. That's what I'm saying. And the reason why I like Hopkins this week is a sneaky play. I like, remember the Titans 2 weeks ago, they won on the road there. I know Will Levis got hurt. Mason Rudolph came in and replaced him for a little bit, but Will Levis is good to go. He'll play. They had a week off to rest. They know that they need to keep winning, as well as the Jags. The Jags and the Titans are in the same division. They need to win. And so their offensive performances are going to be at an all-time high in their prospective matches. And so I do think that with Calvin Ridley and DeAndre Hopkins there and Tyler Boyd, I think that this is a game that Will Levis can, rely on passing heavy. You had it, take early. We were discussing earlier. You were thinking that maybe Tony Pollard was going to have a good game. I was thinking, not so much. I feel like Tony Pollard isn't really going to get much handoffs. It's going to be a thing where the Titans only have like a total of 10, 11 handoffs.
Wow.
No more than 13 carries because Will Levis is throwing. He has the target to do so in Tennessee. And the Colts, they're a porous defense there against the pass. And so, definitely like what they can give up there a lot to what Tennessee's pass catchers. And so Will Levis, I think he does get 350 to 400 passing yards. I want to say 3 touchdowns, but I'm just going to keep it at 2.
All right. I mean, that's pretty darn good for what we've seen from Will Levis thus far this year. He's been pretty dog crap, I'd say, but he gets opportunity, plays a really easy defense at home. He's kind of playing for his job right now. I think Brian Callahan is this close to putting in Mason Rudolph if there's a bad game by Will Levis. So I think it's kind of a must for Will Levis to have a big game. He's got Hopkins, you mentioned. Ridley's pretty solid. Boyd's there. And then you have running backs that can catch the ball as well. So I do think Pollard has a big game. I do think it'll be mostly on the ground just because of how bad the Colts defense is. But hey, if Flacco is starting and this offense on the Colts side is hot and they're winning, Will Levis is going to have to toss the rock. And why not go for a big game to kind of secure your job, have some job security as the Titans starting quarterback. So I like that there. Moving to our spiciest of spicy takes this week, the Blazing Challenge. This is the Blazing Challenge. We're hitting it right there. It's hard to say, but this one, it's coming from my game of the week, which is Commanders versus Ravens. And I have Terry McLaurin he's going to hit 200 yards receiving, and he's going to score a touchdown along with it in a game that's going to kind of be very similar to what we saw with Baltimore and Cincinnati last week. I think it's going to be back and forth. The defenses are going to struggle, but the offenses are going to be exciting. This is going to be one of the most fun games of the week. Lamar's going to be getting it to his guys on the other side, and Jaden Daniels' favorite target thus far this season is Terry McLaurin. And although I do think the Commanders lose this game, it's going to be close, and there's going to be a lot of points on the board, and it's going to be a lot of throws to Terry McLaurin, especially in an offense where Brian Robinson's injured, and even if he plays, the Baltimore Ravens have a very good run defense. Where they struggle is in the receiving game.
Wow, Justin, that is a spicy take, Justin. You know what? I was looking at what my score predictions would be for this game, and I was thinking the perfect score for this is 45-42 Baltimore. Yes, 45-42. This is going to be a shootout. And you know what? For that to happen, Justin, Terry McLaurin, that's going to have to happen for my scoring prediction to happen. Jaden Daniels in that offense is hot. Lamar Jackson, I just want to say he is the MVP of this league so far. He has looked the best I've ever seen. I thought the offseason, he lost weight. I always thought in my head Lamar Jackson was a skinny guy, but apparently he lost some weight, I guess, and he's got a better diet. And you know what, Justin? I guess it's paid off. He looks phenomenal this year, and he is working with nothing. Mark Andrews is the worst he's ever been. Zay Flowers is coming up. He's getting hot up there, but there's no other number 2 guy for Baltimore. Yes, they have Derrick Henry, and maybe that helps. But man, Lamar running the ball is literally the best out of his 2 MVPs I've ever seen it. And if he wins this week in a duel with Jaden Daniels, even if he's a rookie and Lamar beats him, I still feel like that puts Lamar number 1 at the. I know I'm going off topic, so Jaden Daniels is going to need to match up, and McLaurin is going to be that guy. For me, I'm gonna go super spicy, Justin. I mean, like, we're talking blazing, we're talking ghost pepper, we're talking extracts. If you're on TikTok, guys, and you see those guys that have like 5 different hot sauces on a chip, and they get that chip in a box, the chip challenge that with blazing and hot sauce, habaneros puree and all that combined. This is that take right now. The news this past week, Derek Carr is out. Derek Carr is out, and that leaves Spencer Rattler as the starter. And Justin, in fantasy, get ready to drink your milk. He's going to finish top 5 in fantasy this week, and let me tell you why.
Ooh.
Last week, Kirk Cousins was able to pass 500 yards on this same Buccaneers defense. We go into this week. The Saints, they're in the dome. They have no weather conditions to worry about. Everybody's looking at Alvin Kamara. He's been having a pretty good season. But however, this team has Olave. This team has Rashid Shaheed. As well as I like Juwan Johnson. They have Taysom Hill. And as well as Kamara, who can catch a lot out of the backfield. This offense is similar to what the Falcons have. It's literally mirror. If you look at these 2 offenses, very similar in Atlanta and New Orleans. And last week Atlanta gets 500 passing yards on the Buccaneers. We go to New Orleans. Spencer Rattler has a rocket of an arm. When he was at the University of Oklahoma, he did have an arm, a great arm. And then he went to another college, I believe. North Carolina. He was okay. He was on and off. He had some good games. He had some really bad games. When he was at Oklahoma before Caleb Williams got there, he was really good in I believe, his freshman year. He has a rocket arm. I do think he has some baseball kind of a background there. I wouldn't say he's got like he's the prodigy of like what Patrick Mahomes is, but he's sort of a mold like that. It's like in a different class there at the bottom, another tier below Mahomes. But he has the targets to go to. Olave, Rashid Shaheed. Derek Carr was able to find them as deep as he could. He would literally every time Rashid Shaheed would have a touchdown, it was outside of like 40, 50 yards. And Olave is capable of kind of doing that as well. And what better arm to have in Spencer Rattler, who's a rookie? A lot of these coordinators don't have enough tape on what his, NFL weaknesses are. So I feel like this is the 1 or 2 week where Rattler can kind of get away with whatever. And like I mentioned, there's no weather conditions there. So I like Rattler to find Olave a couple times, find Rashid Shaheed a couple times. I like Juwan Johnson to maybe get a touchdown. Who knows? Maybe Alvin Kamara can get a receiving touchdown. So I like Spencer Rattler to have a top 5 fantasy finish this week. And this is going to be a quarterback that potentially people are going to be picking up. And I want to say that maybe Derek Carr might be looking for a job somewhere else.
And I mean, that is spicy. I was not expecting that. A major game in a debut from Spencer Rattler, who's a 4th round quarterback selection. He's got the weapons to do it against a team that just allowed it. So I see the path that you're leading me on right now and leading Green Nation to. So that would be very exciting. I am playing against Chris Olave in like 3 or 4 of my leagues, so this hurts me a little bit. And the fact that I picked Tampa Bay to win in our rapid fire game picks. So we will see. We will come out of Sunday knowing how Mr. Rattler did. So I think that's exciting there. And Dwayne Nation, that is our bold predictions. We went from here all the way to the moon in spicy takes. And hopefully you guys get to look at that. And for the Spencer Rattler thing, hey, maybe you're not confident enough to go and throw him in your main league lineups, but hey, DFS, I bet he is cheap as a dime. Throw him in there, and if you have him and he goes for what my brother Genoa is saying here, then you're probably winning some money this week. So thanks, Dwayne Nation, for listening to our bold predictions, and stay tuned for more of our content. And Genoa, send us out.
Yeah, Justin, that was a great episode. I'm actually really hungry for some spicy food right now, so that's probably what I'm going to do when we get off here. So, Dewey Nation, thanks for watching. We're so excited for Week 6 and beyond. Thanks for following us, and as always, peace.
Peace.